Welcome to the Business Vitality Podcast. My name is Catherine Cantey. I am the host and an executive coach. I work with teams, individuals, and leaders to help create measured leadership change. We do that using practical applications, and our clients are creating 100% measured results as seen by those around them. Not necessarily what I think or what they think, but what the other people are seeing. And they are being recognized for the hard work that they're doing. If you're interested in learning more about some of the work that we're doing, you can learn more at catherinecantey.com. I would love for you to subscribe to this show, to Business Vitality. This is my way to continue to pay it forward and share business best practices. Stay tuned and listen to the interview. Thanks for being here. Leah Neaderthal, you are the founder of Smart Gets Paid, found on the web at smartgetspaid.com. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
So tell me a little bit high level, what is Smart Gets Paid?
Oh gosh, Smart Gets Paid is, of course, the name of my company, but it really came from the women that I serve, and at really my own journey to learn how to sell. So I came from a corporate background in corporate marketing at large multinational advertising agencies. And then I went in-house to a tech company. And when I started my first marketing consulting business, I thought, how hard could that be? I've done marketing and I'm pretty smart. And what I found after about 30 seconds is that marketing is not selling. And I didn't know how to sell to save my life. And I really could not get clients. And I was so paralyzed because I didn't know what I was doing. But what made it a lot worse is that I'm a total type A overachiever, and I beat myself up like, I'm so smart. How can I not know how to do this? And so I ended up, teaching myself how to sell. I needed to learn how to get clients, but I didn't want to, do it the way I had seen people sell to me, which I didn't really, enjoy, or it didn't make me feel good. So I wanted to find my own style. I read every single book I could get my hands on, which turned into 65 books. I tried everything with my own clients. Anything that felt salesy, I ditched. Anything that felt good, I kept. And I created a system that helps to get clients, that builds great relationships, and it works. With that system, I have a 92% win rate, and I've sold $3 million in work. And that's the system I teach to the women that I work with who are running consulting, B2B consulting businesses. But it also reflects that Smart Gets Paid reflects what I hear from the women that I work with today, because, there's one aspect of it which is, I'm so smart, how can I not know how to do this? But there's another sort of side of that coin, which is, I'm too smart to feel like I have to sell myself, right? And so, so all these women want to do, and what I wanted to do was that get the clients that help us, sustain our life and livelihood and allow us to do great work and get paid. So that's where Smart Gets Paid comes from.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And you mentioned that you focus mainly with women. Do you ever have guys that come in and want to learn some of this?
I do. Yeah. I work with guys, usually more one-on-one, less in my programs, but I do. It's funny. I work with a lot of women who are afraid to sort of put a stake in the ground on the people that they really want to serve, right? The people that they work with. And for example, I was talking to a woman who wants to serve Latina leaders, and she was afraid for a long time to sort of name that because she thought she would cut off everybody else. And I think I'm a prime example of I go to market as a coach for women, but you'll still scoop up people who see your value and want that transformation for themselves, and that includes men.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that, and I have to disclose that a friend of mine introduced me. One of my coaches that's turned into a friend of mine introduced us, and we met. It was at least a year ago or so. And you've had a big impact on me, and I appreciate the work that you've shared and the process that you shared. And what I was introduced to you with was something called Pack Your Pipeline. And as somebody who was in corporate, and then I left corporate a couple of years ago, and I had to find my own voice and be able to share my experiences with other people in a professional manner. It's kind of nerve-wracking to get to do that. But you do a wonderful job of just helping us get comfortable with it. And a lot of people don't know where to get started. Do you mind just talking about what Pack Your Pipeline is, and when is the next one that you're running? Because I think it's just bukus of benefit inside of this experience. So I'll just let you talk about it if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah. So much like you, having come from corporate, I had spent my career working for other people and, just being quietly doing great work and getting recognized for it and moving up the chain, right? And when people start their own businesses, that's the career that they've had as well. And so it can take a lot to first realize that you need to find your voice and start getting seen. And then, what you shared is, how do you get started? And having gone through that myself, I tried everything. I had posted on all the social media and written all the blogs and done everything that you're supposed to do. And, a lot of random acts of marketing. And I realized that my people were on LinkedIn. And if I could figure out LinkedIn, how to get seen, how to get clients coming to me, then not only would I be successful, but I could stop doing random acts of marketing in other places, right? Like Twitter is never going to be my place, So I started testing the tools and the strategies that ultimately became Pack Your Pipeline. So it's a system that gets you seen on LinkedIn, gets people coming to you, joining your list, reaching out, right? Sort of filling your pipeline. But I sort of take what I learned about how to get seen on LinkedIn, and I married that with, how do you sell B2B? So the system in Pack Your Pipeline reflects not just a bunch of LinkedIn tools and tactics, but only the ones that work and help you with a sort of speed up the B2B sales process, right? So that by the time people come to you, they're already, sort of pre-sold on you. You're the obvious choice. So the pieces of that are, understanding what LinkedIn wants, right? The foundations of LinkedIn and the algorithm, which, LinkedIn's pretty different than, it sort of operates differently than Facebook or other social media. Of course, it takes tuning your profile to really speak to the value and the outcomes that your clients want. It takes making sure that you're getting seen by the right people, your ideal clients and referrers. And then it takes content which speaks to their pain points, solutions, where they want to go in their business. And, getting that content seen by a lot more people outside of your network. So that's that is the sort of strategy in a nutshell.
What I liked about it is it was scary for me in the beginning, and I started doing it. I just remember it would take me a couple of hours to come up with what to do and how to follow it and how to test it. And everybody's so supportive and helping each other. And then now I've got it down in a groove where I think it maybe takes me 20 minutes max for the whole week to be able to come up with what I want to talk about, what I want to share, and the dialogue and the exchange and the celebration of others on LinkedIn is actually kind of fun. And then you teach about lurkers. And so it's funny. You don't know that there's people watching, and it's important to be able to have a consistent message, and you're able to do that in a professional environment like LinkedIn. And I thought it was, it's impactful. And, I think you could even do this if you're still in your corporate job and you just want to be able to develop these professional relationships across other organizations. I think this is also a great solution for that. So it's just a great way to kind of test the waters and start talking with people and finding your voice. So it's fun.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people sort of look at LinkedIn and think it's this sort of big, scary professional place. You have to sort of be a certain way or talk a certain way or write about a certain thing. And what you find once you know how to do LinkedIn in a way that's really comfortable is it's actually a very welcoming place. And you don't have to be any way but yourself. And I think that makes it, actually fun to be a part of. So, and I'm so happy that so many women I've worked with have sort of made that transformation, right? So it made that journey from, I, this is a scary place, and what would I even say, to I belong here, and here's my point of view.
Yeah. Yeah. You do it very well. And so what we're talking about is business vitality. We talk with CEOs and founders, and we love to be able to share success stories and ways that we can all keep learning and sharing. And a success story may be something that we didn't succeed at, but we learned from it, and it's going to help us going forward. What I have seen with the most successful businesses is they're able to adapt to what the market is, and they listen to what the opportunities are, and they respond to it. And it allows your business to survive and thrive year after year, decade after decade. And what you've done, what you've just created something that you're beginning to share with the world. And it's a classic example of how you're going to continue to grow and take these opportunities that you see, that you hear, and you're going to embrace them, and you're going to be able to help more people by listening to what those needs are. And I think it's just a classic example of remaining vital in business today. So do you mind talking about your new program that that you just kind of started sharing that with everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? Even before that, I'm gonna do you one better, and I will share a decision I made that maybe, well, probably was the right decision at the time, but it turned out to not be the right decision, as some, as that happens. And like your listeners, if you guys are listening to this, you just learn from it. And so, as a bit of backstory to this program, about 5 years ago, I took what I was sharing in one-on-one coaching. I was teaching women how to guide in their business, and I was doing it one by one. And in about 5 years ago, I took what I was sharing and I turned it into a program, which is a 10-week course called Sign. That was my very first program. And it was a sort of how to sell, right? How to get clients. I took, as I was leading people through that, we discovered together that there wasn't enough in that program about how to actually fill your pipeline. So you could sign any client that came your way and get paid a lot more for it, but you really needed people to talk to and clients to come your way. So at the time, I was testing strategies on LinkedIn, and those ultimately became my second course called Pack Your Pipeline, which you are instantly familiar with. Fast forward, I created a third course called the Painkiller Workshop, because I saw that my clients needed a little bit of clarity and sort of work around their value-based messaging, really communicating their value. And then I pretty much caught shiny objects syndrome, and I created everyone's like creating these tiny offers, and so I created a low-cost offer called Roadmap to Clients, which teaches you how to just create a sales process. That's it. And I think that looking back, what I realized, which was the right idea at the time, it turned out to be maybe not the right idea for me, was I had this whole suite of programs. I had at various price points to solve various problems. I was following the classic online entrepreneur playbook. And I was like, I have achieved online entrepreneur nirvana. Shouldn't I be so happy with this? And I looked at it, I was like, I'm not happy. I feel a little empty, because what I saw was that I was solving very small parts of the problem at various price points for increasing amounts of money. And that didn't feel in alignment with what I truly wanted to do, which was solve the real problem. The real problem being that so many people are leaving money on the table by not knowing how to get clients and not knowing how to get paid well for their work. So that's what led me to, again, that was the right idea. Turned out to be out of alignment with me. But so that's what led me to take what I put together, wrap it in a lot of coaching, and I'm launching a new program called the Academy. And in the Academy, it's the entire sales and client life cycle. Everything from how do you get on somebody's radar? How do you nurture them to want to take an action and work with you? How do you lead a sales process and get paid dramatically more? And then how do you have a great client relationship once you work together, right? And for repeat work and upsells and all that. So that's where, I think that people, it allows, this is what's necessary to solve the problem. You can't, as an entrepreneur, as a consultant, you can't land higher paying clients if you only know how to get people into your pipeline, right? Or if you only know how to, write down your sales process. But also it's what I saw, it's responding to what I saw in the marketplace, which is, look at where we are in business today. I mean, the sales process, it has never been a straight line, but there are so many more twists and turns, and clients make decisions very differently. And so to be able to teach people not only how to sell in theory, but how to get clients in practice in this new environment is what we're going to be talking about in the academy. So it's a year-long program to truly make that sales transformation and learn everything that's necessary to truly be able to get clients into your business.
I think that's wonderful. And something that stuck out why you shared that was your courage of you being able to step up and listen to what was aligning with you and what's not aligning with you. And that's something that a lot of people have to do. You've got to make these decisions. And especially as we kind of wrap up the year and we're reflecting back on things, you really have to reassess what is in alignment. And sometimes you have to make some hard decisions about, we're not going to do this anymore and we're going to do something different. I don't know if you can just talk about what does that feel like, and what that ability of having the courage to be able to say, you know what, this is working, but this doesn't feel right to me. Because a lot of people that are in the founder's position, they had this, wonderful idea that came in, and you keep growing and you see the shiny objects, and then you're kind of like, wait a minute, that's not exactly who I am. Can you talk about that courage and what that feels like? And do you reassess things every once in a while to kind of check yourself, or is it a gut? What do you think it is?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I mean, there are so many, it's like a swirl of emotions. On the one hand, I feel really clear. I feel really calm. I feel very, I feel like this is truly in alignment with what my clients need and how I want to exist in the world, right? On the other hand, I'm terrified because I've been talking about, let's just take the two programs, my sort of flagship programs, Signed Impact Your Pipeline. I've been talking about them for years. They're what I'm known for. And I am terrified that my brand will sort of be damaged in some way, right? Or my business will evaporate overnight. Now, rationally, I know that's not going to happen, but it is, hard. It's a little nerve-wracking to sort of step away from something that you've built. But I do have to check that with, this is how I'm going to move forward. This is the right thing. So it's like being afraid and doing it anyway is really how I can describe it.
Is that what it felt like when you kicked off your podcast? Or was that just a natural fit? Because your podcast is very unique, I think, and I like it. It's not a traditional interview. You want to talk about that and your podcast and how it's a little bit different?
Sure. So my podcast is, I call it like a listening in style. And in most every episode, the listener is listening in on an actual conversation with one of my clients where we solve, one or more business challenges, sales challenges, where it can be about pricing or messaging or how do you keep clients from ghosting you or what have you. But I really wanted to give people an insight into, first, how do you solve a challenge? If you too are struggling with pricing, for example, here are some things you can do and ways to think about it. But on the other hand, I mean, I think a major part of it is just showing people that they're not alone. Because I think a lot of women, especially, actually, I can't say that. It could be any, a lot of business owners doing this can be lonely, and they can feel like whatever problems they're having, they're the only ones that have them and everyone else has it figured out. And I want to just offer that you're not alone. So, but to your question of, was that a natural fit? No, it was not a natural fit. It was a huge leap of faith for me. I am, if you're listening to this and you connect with me on LinkedIn after this, you'll see that I'm really comfortable writing. I love writing. I'm really comfortable writing. Getting on a microphone, getting on video is, my clients know it's just not where I feel most comfortable. And so I announced the podcast. I was like, I'm going to do a podcast. And then I didn't do the podcast. And I dragged my feet on the podcast. And I put it off until finally I launched it 16 months later. A year and 4 months later, I finally launched it. And it was just because of fear. It was because of fear. I finally realized that certain things were holding me back. Like it made me freaked out to do a solo episode. And so when I really had like a come to Jesus moment with myself, I was like, all right, fine, no solo episodes in the first season. Great. So and certain things like that just made me say, like, okay, I'm just going to move forward. I'm going to be afraid, do it anyway, and let's see what happens.
I love that. Leah, if someone wants to learn more about the work that you're doing and be able to connect with you, can you share with us kind of what are some good next steps, or where can they find you? Obviously on LinkedIn, but I'm going to turn it over to you to list all the places.
Sure. Well, so of course my website is smartgetspaid.com, and find me on LinkedIn. But if you're a podcast person, which you might be if you're listening to this incredible podcast, I want to invite you to check me out on Apple Podcasts. It's the Smart Gets Paid podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
That's perfect. Thank you. Leah Neaderthal, you are the founder of Smart Gets Paid, found on the web at smartgetspaid.com. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to the episode. If you like it, please subscribe, share this episode or this show with other people around you. The greatest form of a compliment is a referral. I really appreciate them. And if you think that you want to learn more about some of the work we're doing, I encourage you to reach out to CatherineCantey.com. You can schedule a call or just continue to read articles and information that we post out there. Thank you so much for being here.